So episode 4, I liked this, even though it was side questy. I liked it a little better than episode 2 because it does end up being like at least like a tiny bit connected,
Mm-hmm.
like
Well,
that
because
hologram.
it's old people that we saw last season.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
and we get a little bit more about the whole cloning thing. I have no idea. I don't know if that's connected to Snoke or whatnot, but um,
I think it was because if you look in those tanks when they were in the facility, if
mhm.
you look, it looks like the shape of Snoke. And you can actually kind of see the scar thing that he has on his head.
Yeah,
Even if it's not, I do think it's connected to the larger plan that, Moff Gideon is
Mm-hmm.
obviously not the only guy out there and he's probably not even the guy who's working. He might be the highest level in the
Mm-hmm.
Outer Rim. He might be doing those things, but it's very doubtful that he's really even the top dog at
well,
all at this point.
because Thrawn is probably the top dog, right?
Right, but we don't even know if Moff Gideon's working for Thrawn or if
Yeah,
Moff
yeah.
Gideon's working for someone else. That's kind of going to be an interesting thing to find out if Moff Gideon was answering to Thrawn directly, in which case we have a lot of other questions. But if the other possibility really is if Moff Gideon was answering to the Eternal Empire, so to speak, the Final Order, Palpatine's sort of network of people who were readying the galaxy for him to come back. And
Mm-hmm.
if so, it would be interesting if they had been having, because of course he's burning through these clone bodies, if they had been trying to find a way to create a host
Mhm.
for Palpatine, which is something that we see happen in the Legends canon, Legend continuity. So I think that's the other like sort of far-fetched possibility is that
Yeah.
he's actually somehow connected to Palpatine, but
Or at
Palpatine
least
didn't
seeing
actually
the
come back. So.
beginnings of the cloning stuff, though, of what's
Yes,
supposed to
definitely.
lead to the sequels. And I have my own issues with the sequels, but it is nice to see them connect those things because I like to see the whole universe connect to each other.
And it makes it feel a lot more natural. One of the biggest problems with the sequels was a lack of world building.
Mm-hmm.
I think I don't know if I've referenced this to either of you before, but I think one of the big things that the expanded universe fixed for the prequels was making the characters feel more relatable because you don't watch episodes 1, 2, and 3 and most people don't feel like, wow, that's how I talk. That's not it.
Right?
But they will watch the Clone Wars and think, okay, that's more relatable, that's more understandable, and so a lot of people feel more relatable to the characters. So relatability is the issue that the expanded stuff fixed for the prequels. World building is the issue that expanded stuff is going to have to fix for the sequels, and I think that is obviously a flaw of the sequels itself. But I do think that once everything is said and done, assuming they don't actually go crazy and pull the plug on the sequels existing, which I don't think they ever will. If they don't go that wild direction, I think what's more likely is we're going to end up saying, well, do the movies stand on their own for world building? Absolutely not. But can you watch through The Mandalorian and then watch The Force Awakens and feel like you're in a place that this makes more sense? I think that's what we're going to end up seeing.
That's a really good point. I hadn't thought of that in detail like that, but
I
it
think
is nice to see a little explanation starting for that. Not a ton, which, because I don't want them to just explain the movies outright, but I like the little, like, oh, here's how it started a little bit
Mhm.
without explaining it, because they didn't really go into deep detail, which is why we can have theories about what we were seeing,
Yeah.
mm-hmm.
but we see that it's like something's going on, and we know it has to do with cloning.
Right. I mean, there is actually just more setup in, episode 4 of season 2 of The Mandalorian for what we see in Rise of Skywalker than there is in either of the other two sequels. There's more setup. I mean, of course, somehow Palpatine has returned. Snoke was a clone, something question mark. That there's none of that in the sequels, and you know, for better or worse, I think that what we're not seeing a takedown of the sequels. We're seeing a vindication of them in a way.
Mm-hmm.
So, what did you guys think of the mission that they were on in episode 4?
I enjoyed it. It did feel a little side questy, but not as much. But it was cool how we saw the I don't remember his name, the guy from the very first episode that was captured.
Farga? The blue
The
guy.
blue guy.
Yeah.
With the fins. Seeing him again, obviously we don't really care about him, but it's neat to see what happened to him and that he's having to serve this ridiculous sentence.
There's no registration on the ship, but I'm pretty sure it belongs.
I believe you two have met.
Right back at you.
Mithril here is taken care of by books since it was a polywog.
Magistrate Cargo was generous enough to let me work off my debt. Thank you, by the way.
Well, if he runs off on you again, let me know.
Let me assure you, I do not want to spend any more time in Carbonite.
And how him and Grief Cargo kind of play off of each other, kind of bickering.
Yeah, it's like something we've seen before in Star Wars universe, like breaking into a Empire like facility. I enjoyed it because they have a lot more limited resources than the way you normally see it. So they kind of have to like get by with a lot less. So I like that.
Yeah.
Or Cara Dune becomes like officially like a
marshal.
Yeah, marshal. Yeah. So maybe she'll be in the Rangers, the New Republic series.
And we see the guy who made her a marshal. He also tries to mention the Razor Crest to kind of catch him, but he's like, I didn't mention the Razor Crest. So you kind of see how people in power are trying to figure things out.
Yeah.
Being a little sly.
Pretty much it for season 4.
Hey, it's Liam. Thank you so much for watching. Please subscribe.